I want to talk about, we're going to call him Fabio. So, Fabio, when you look up the word token in the dictionary, you will see a picture of Fabio. And when I say Fabio owned the role of token, I mean owns the role of token. It is no secret who I'm talking about because when I was playing, there were probably 5 or less people of color on the team. I don't know, a little bit more than that, maybe 15. But the thing that was so different about Fabio compared to the other is that he had been accepted into like one of the upper echelon tiers. So when you have a group of this many guys, especially gay guys, things are gonna get it's just gonna happen with your team. You know, things are gonna get clicky. And what I noticed is that it was kind of a hierarchy, the guys that had been there longer, right? Definitely a little mean girls group of which this guy Fabio was a part of. But, and again, I'm not gonna let anybody make me feel bad, period, but especially not in my hometown. And a lot of Fabio's attitude and a lot of his actions, I actually felt sorry for him. So I could see that it came from a place of self-hate. And I could see that so much of his identity was wrapped up in protecting his token status. The part that I had the problem with is that he felt the need to be trashy to the other members of color, again, to protect his very, very fragile position where he had been accepted by the white guys, right? The only one that had been accepted by the white guys. I made friends with the other Latinos on the league, right? And so these things were very apparent to us. One of my friends was super, super radical, and he was like, if we don't have this much diversity, XYZ, I'm not coming back next year. This guy was, I'm not even gonna say this person's name, but he was a lot more serious than I was. So again, despite everything, again, overwhelmingly positive experience, right? Even Fabio's trashiness, again, but the league was so large that it didn't affect me. I only mention it to warn other people of color. There are a bunch of other people on the league. Just don't ignore Fabio. He's pathetic. Again, and when you realize how much of this comes from self-hate, you know, and that you have to protect your token status because you've been accepted, so you have to, you know, it's pathetic and it's really sad. So enough about that pathetic guy, Columbia Universe. Again, it's very obvious. Just take a quick scroll on his social media, okay? He is the only non-white person, and he wants it to be that way, and fuck you can have it. All right, let's talk about why I finally decided that gay Frisbee is not for me. So that was fall season. They do 2, right? They do fall and spring. So I signed up again for spring. This was early February, and I say that for a reason. So, and again, I'm not gonna lie, trying to impress these guys, trying to make friends. Why I signed up to make the t-shirts, which anyway. So one of my cousin's kids was selling Girl Scout cookies, and I thought, hey, what if I buy like 10 or 12 boxes, like $100 worth of Girl Scout cookies, and I bring them to the team? Like, wouldn't that be like a nice little gesture to our very first practice? So I did that. I got sick as a dog about 2 days before practice, and I almost didn't end up going. I was still sick, by the way. I was sick, absolutely, but I was like, anyway, I bought all these cookies. I can't have all these cookies, right? So I showed up. It was, you know, sunny San Francisco day, and I'm wearing like my rain jacket because that's how sick I am. And my mother is convinced, I am too at this point, that I had COVID. That this was before the pandemic, if that's not obvious. Right, like literally a week or 2 before San Francisco shut down, which, in case you don't remember, we were one of the first, if not the first, American city to shut down completely. So I show up, I give Cooper the cookies. He kind of gives me a hug and he's like, oh, Eric, you're adorable. And I'm like, cool. I was like, can you like just hand them out? And I'll be honest, I did want a little bit of credit. I was like, can you just tell the guys that I bought cookies? I gotta go, I'm sick. So I forget when this conversation happened because I've run into Cooper a couple of times and it really depends on the season whether he knows who I am or not. I didn't think I had a problem with him, but maybe this precipitated that. So again, I don't remember when I talked to him, but a little bit later I talked to him, and part of the conversation was, I just started handing the bag to people, and then people just started eating the cookies on the way to the bars, and I kind of felt bad. I kind of felt bad because nobody knew that you brought them, and I was like, okay, cool. Honestly, I almost wished he hadn't told me that. I would have actually preferred that he had not told me that, because that just made me feel worse. Like, okay, and then again, this has been a few years, so I have the timelines a little screwed up. He knew how sick I was, because he commented on it. And again, I didn't want to get anyone else sick, so I got out of there quickly after he gave me the hug. But about a week or a few days later, I hear from the head of the league, the entire league. And I won't say this guy's name or assign him a pseudonym either. But I thought, literally, when I saw his text pop up, I thought he was going to do one of two things. I thought he was asking me how I was doing, if I got better, or I thought he was going to literally thank me for the Girl Scout cookies. It was neither of those. The fucker literally messaged me to ask me when I was going to pay dues. And he said it just like that. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, again, I know $100 is a drop in the bucket to a bunch of tech trash. I will say tech trash at this point, because don't act like trash if you don't want to get called garbage. But that's not a drop in the bucket for me. And I need to maybe do better about what my mom has taught me about when you give a gift to somebody, you just have to release it. But I'm low-key butthurt that these people, again, how do you people, claim to grow up in all these privileged households, and you have had everything in your life handed to you, but you don't have the class or the courtesy to say a simple fucking thank you? Like, that bothered me so much. Like, did you think the cookies literally fell out of the sky? And I get it, you're privileged. You've been handed everything in life, so things just kind of go over, but hey, not my problem, not anything I want to be a part of. So that was the day that I decided, no longer going to be a part of the gay Frisbee team. I think I still kind of get their emails, but I just want to make it, the last point I want to make before leaving is that this video is not meant to discourage anyone from joining. You might have a wonderful experience. As a matter of fact, everything that I've noticed about them, they're always trying to improve. They're always trying to improve. They're always trying to get better. I ultimately came to the conclusion that I don't have a lot in common with all these privileged white men. Fabio thought he did, right? So that's why he had to protect he has little token status. I don't. So I said, deuces.